Okay, I'm back. Yeah, the chat on the last stream just froze up apparently. Not sure what was going on. Or maybe nobody was commenting, I don't know. But we're back. So, how's everybody doing? Why does that screen look so dark? I don't understand. All right. Marcus, how's it going? Welcome back. Well, we're closing in on the general profile that I want on this blade. It's coming along. But yeah, I was asking, Run Gun, how's it going? I was asking everybody if that is that fight between Tyson and Paul tonight. Joseph, how's it going? Yeah, Marcus, it just died. So I figured something glitched out. I don't know. So I just rebooted. We got it back. Okay, yeah, the fight's tonight. Keep thinking I have a crack in this mug. It's not a crack, though. Look at that. Oh, yeah. We're forging now. Well, I don't know how many knives I'm going to get forged this stream today, but we're going to... Hey, Eric, how's it going? But we're going to give it a good shot. Try to get several. We're coming to the end of the forging process on here. This is where of this particular knife, and so I'm especially careful. I want it into the forge only as long as necessary. I'm going to pull it back out as quickly as possible, or just as soon as I can, you know. Once it heats up, get it back under the hammer. And so this is where we're really kind of starting to pay attention. I mean, you got to do this the whole time, but it's especially crucial to get towards the end of the forging process to pay attention to that, because that's what affects the grain size and the toughness of the blade. You know, I'm not saying you can ever just let your knife sit in the forge and overheat it and cook it at any point during the forging process. I'm just saying that as important as that is, it's especially important in the latter stages of forging the blade, because you want to be able to progressively, at the very least, not increase from the previous temperature each time you take it out of the forge during the last multiple heats. And preferably you would graduate lower and lower temperatures during the last multiple heats. So we're really close. This is looking really good. I think my guy's going to be, the client's going to be happy about this knife, but I'm going to drop this down just a little bit here on the handle. And then we can start on the next one. But we got some people, newer people here. Yeah, Eric's wasn't on the last live stream just a second ago. So anyway, I'm going to pull up the knives that we forged last week and show those to everybody again, because those are all finished. So I thought it'd be cool to show everybody what we forged on the last forge stream, last Friday forge stream. Is that a good name or is it silly? No, you tell me. I thought it was cool, but you know, that doesn't mean a lot. So Marcus, so Eric, I'm making a kind of a buffalo skinner. It's kind of like a big Nesmuk, maybe, but a nice thin slicey blade. I'm making it off of a knife that I made previously that was intended for kitchen use, and so I put a real thin blade on it, you know. I mean, comparatively, it was like probably 100,000 stick. So, nice thin blade. Marcus, I don't know. If I was going to make my own forever knife, I'm not sure. That's a hard question. Because I mean, I like so many different styles and different builds and stuff, you know. So it would be really hard to just choose one knife style and build, you know. That would be really hard. What I can say is that it would be something practical, and I find a real certain beauty in a practical blade design, like the Pucos and all of the Scandinavian knives, but any of those Scandinavian knives, including the Pucos, I find just the designs are very appealing, and they're intensely practical, of course. And so, but you know, there's a lot of those knives have some embellishments and just neat stuff to them, and you know, so it might be something like that, you know, a practical design with some. But I don't know. I really have to think about it. And that would kind of be torture, right? You can only have one knife forever, the rest of your life. Like, what kind of nonsense is that, man? Come on now. But good question. I don't really know the answer to that, though. Well, I want to heat this back up just a little bit and just forge it down a little bit thinner. It's still not even quite 1/8 of an inch thick. It's still probably 9/64 or something like that. Let me pull up my, let me grab my measuring device if I can find it here. Where did that go? I do not know. Well, anyway, I'll use the calibrated eye. It's too thick. There, how's that? The Tinkerist, yeah, I had to shut down the last live stream and start a new one because it just froze up for some reason. don't know. We don't have we're not on Starlink, so I can't blame it on a UFO or anything. So it's hard to keep everything. I can't keep everything in the view here, but I'm just pulling this knife in and out of the forge so I don't overheat. Overheat it, and I'm just doing the final forging on it, and putting in the distal taper. But there's no bevels forged on this. You don't need to. It's quite thin. There's no need for that. In fact, I would prefer, which is why I'm doing it this way, to leave some material there to clean off, take off for the decarb. Now I gotta get a little more even heat on that here. Once you get down to a certain blade thickness, and that's probably thicker than you might think, there's really no point in forging the bevels. And in fact, it could be detrimental, which I know a lot of people probably, well, not a lot, some people might not agree with that, but that's okay. So it's looking pretty good. I like the thickness. Well, I like the thickness up here, the last third of the blade, but I think I want to work on this a little bit more. But I think I'm going to flip it around and work from the tang back, or the blade back, I should say, down to the tang. Jay, this is a 52-100 high carbon steel. Nice. Yeah, this is Forged Fire real life. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I'm really enjoying this Scandinavian style knife that did the video on recently. That's pretty good right there, I think. I could maybe forge it a little bit thinner, but I think I'm going to leave it. I think it's good. And then I'm going to do another one. It's a little bit longer blade. Obviously the handle's too long on this, but this is all going to be, the finished knife is going to be smaller than the current profile here, right? Because you want to have extra all the way around the outside. Well, I think I'm going to, spoke too soon. I'm going to run the blade through another couple passes here. Oh man, all right. Thanks XYZ, I appreciate it. Canada, how's it going? Venezuela, Serbia. Forged knives. Whether a knife is forged or not does not speak to the specific kind of steel it is. So for example, the 3V steel is in a different class than what we're working with here today, which is 52-100. And that's just a fact. But it also costs a lot more. It's more difficult to heat treat. It's more difficult to sharpen. And so it's kind of, in some ways, it's a little bit of a different animal than what we're working with here. This steel is, okay, so I have to go to why I chose 52100 steel, right? And I had several criteria as to why I chose this steel. So first of all, you want to ask yourself a couple questions like, what kind of knives do I want to make? And what kind of characteristics do I want them to have? And how do I want to build them? And so primarily I like to forge my blades. I want to have a traditional sort of lineup of knives that lend themselves to a traditional design and usage. And I want them to be user-friendly as far as sharpenability, as far as that's concerned. And then I want the steel to be somewhat economical, and I want it to be readily available. Because you can have a really great steel, but if it's not available or if it's super expensive, that can kind of put a hiccup in your knife production and providing quality blades for your customers. So all of these factors come into play when you're choosing what knife steel to use. And long story short, I chose 52100 for the high quality characteristics of the steel, the availability, the cost, the workability, and then the user-friendly characteristics for the person who actually has the knife. So there's our finished forged blade. And obviously the handle's gonna be a little shorter, things are gonna be cleaned up profile-wise, but what's most important here is the thickness we have forged here and whether or not we can get our desired blade profile out of this forged blade, which we can. And so for those of you tuned in recently here, what we started with was this bar of steel right here, which I forged down flat from a 3/4 round bar previously, not today, but that's what this is forged from, this right here, and it's looking really good. So I'm going to set this aside and we're going to start on the next one and forge another one a little bit bigger, a little bit longer this time, and then I'll let my client choose which one he likes the best, and I'll put the handle scales on it for him. And then the other one will just be up available. So it works out. I am getting over a bit of a cold, and like I said, they're harvesting the cotton and the peanuts, drying the peanuts, all that stuff kind of in the air this time of year. So I've got a little more sniffles than usual, I guess. All right, we got some. Yeah, it's cool having people tuning in from all over the globe, all over the map. Depending on what you think about that. It's the globe. Anyway, what's the best spec about 52100? I'm not sure what you mean by that. Can you clarify that question a little bit? Oh, okay. Cool. All right. Yeah, we've got a nice forged thickness to it, and I better put another piece of steel in here. Lost my tongs. All right. I kind of want to just cut off with the cutoff wheel and make that a little cleaner. I might do that here real fast. I'd say it's about more important to get the geometry and heat treat right for the steel than necessarily get the unicorn steel. Yeah, absolutely, I'd agree with that. Hey, RVs, Blades, and things. How's it going? How are things up there in the Panhandle? Yeah, you can, and I've said this before. I'm just going to remember and cut this off here with the cutoff wheel, but I think you guys can still hear me. Yeah, there's no perfect steel. You know, you got to, and that's kind of the thing too, is you want to pick a steel that matches your desired function, and so that's another thing. 5200 steel is a great all-around steel, and depending on how you heat treat it, it can very handily handle culinary type blades up to even like big chopping blades, depending on how you heat treat it. I don't stretch 5200 that far. I pick some other steels on the further ends of the spectrum, but it still would work fine for that. But I try to specialize a little more than that. But for most of your knives, I mean, you could really use it for pretty much any knife you're gonna make, quite honestly. But I try to specialize a little more than that. I'll use. I really enjoyed getting into 125 CR1 for my kitchen knives, and then I'll use 80 CRV2 for the big chopping knives, heavy use knives. It's very tough. And with the 125 CR1, it's got that extra abrasion resistance from that higher carbon content. So, works pretty good. Excuse me. Excuse me, man. All right. Goodness. So hopefully that makes sense. So yeah, for your bushcraft knives, your hunting knives, your everyday carry knives, all that stuff, 5200 is my go-to. Good evening from the UK, Mr. Mike Shaw. 72 in Amarillo, pretty similar here. What's the oldest steel you've ever forged? Oldest, probably some spring tooth harrow. Probably. Yeah, we got full sun here right now, yes sir. Gotta love that. Hello from Scotland. Jay says, so are the small knife makers working with Gucci steels, mostly sending them off to get heat treated? I think so. That seems to be pretty common. I'm sure it's a case by case basis. I know a lot of guys. A lot of guys send them off. A lot of guys do it themselves, but it's hard to know. Suffolk, just born in Newcastle. Do you know any Binghams? Anybody know any Binghams over there? Those are my people. RVs asked where I buy my belts from. Yeah, these 2x72 They ain't cheap. So currently I buy my grinding belts from a couple of different places. I'm tasting that dang cutoff wheel in my mouth. I seem to be, if I don't put on a mask, even if I like hold my breath and like walk away real fast, I still get that smell or taste of cutoff wheel grit. I'm like, great. I hate that. But anyway, doesn't know any Binghams. All right, then. I got sidetracked. I get my 40, 80, and 120 grit ceramic belts from Benchmark Abrasives. And then I get my J-weight aluminum oxide 120 and 220 from True Grit, TRUGRIT.com. Both online. The ceramic belts that Benchmark Abrasives has, I think like 3 other places have them. They're all basically the same belt, and they work fine. They work just fine. But Benchmark Abrasives has the best price that I've found so far. And I've switched companies a couple times, finding the best price. And I've used a lot of different belts, but that's what I use, and that's where I get them from. Until I find something better. So. Binge hams. Binghams. Oh, hey, I forgot. I wanted to, and I don't know if they're going to see this live stream or not, but I wanted to do a shout out to my grandparents. Speaking of Binghams, that's my grandmother on my dad's side. She was a Bingham. And Papa and Nana, those are my grandparents on my dad's side. They've been married 66 years today, which is not a small feat, especially in today's age, right? And so, anyway, they've been married for 66 years, Papa and Nana. And they got 30-something grandchildren and 61-something great-grandchildren. So, amazing legacy, faithful to the Lord for their whole lives since they were born again at like 30, something like that. So, shout out to them. And, yes. I don't know, because when I looked up the Binghams, there's like 3 different, I think there was like 3 different Bingham clans over there. But I was able to trace my ancestors back to the American Revolution. I had an ancestor, a Bingham, fight in the War for Independence, and I don't know if his dad came over or if his granddad came over. I don't know from that point. So, where were we here? Marcus says, saw an interesting one on cryo, treating in a bucket of dry ice. Yeah, so cryo is, this is a common, excuse me, you have cryogenic treatment, and then you have sub-zero. And cryogenic is what you accomplish with liquid nitrogen, you're talking about negative 300 degrees Fahrenheit. And then sub-zero, excuse me, is not as cold. It's you get about negative 100 degrees, and you could accomplish that with a dry ice slurry. Crushing up dry ice, putting it in something like a mineral spirits or acetone, that actually drops the temperature below the freezing point of the dry ice, and that's how you can get down to like a negative 100 degrees. And so there's a difference, in different steels requires different things. So Triple J asked for a close-up. Ta-da! Yes, sir. That's I can't stop buying tools. It's a vice. That's what it says. I don't know why the camera mirrors the images. I don't understand that, but hey, Randy, how's it going? Today I'm working on this is the first one. It's kind of the profile is going to look more like a buffalo skidder when I clean it up. And it's a nice slicing knife. But I'm going to forge a second one with the longer blade. So yeah, the Binghams are on my grandmother's side, and then on my granddad's side, I don't know as far back as where that family line goes. But ancestry is an interesting thing. I find it pretty interesting. I think I might raise this up a tad here so I can see the chat without bending over. Maybe make sure you guys can see what's going on. I don't know. Big fight tonight. Well, it might be a big fight. We'll see, right? We were talking about that in the first live stream a little bit ago before the chat conked out on us, or on me anyway. Come from a long line of losers. Well, nobody has a perfect family tree. I don't care who you are, where you're from. It's maybe it's an opportunity to to change your family tree. Be a chain breaker. I think everybody has that opportunity in some form or fashion, Yeah, Mike Tyson's what, 58 now? I like I said in the last live stream, I don't really follow any of this, and I don't know a lot about. I knew more about Mike Tyson than I did Jake Paul until some of you guys filled me in a little bit. But it just doesn't seem like this Jake Paul guy's much of a real fighter from what very little I know. And obviously Mike Tyson's been well proven in his skills and abilities and so forth. My take was, well, this was my take. It's kind of a contest between a youth and, well, I said brute power, but maybe skill. Somebody said skill. Skill versus youth, So if Jake Paul can stay away from not get punched in the head long enough to tire Tyson out, he might have a chance, right? But my other take was it's kind of a lose-lose for Jake Paul, because best case scenario, he beats a 60-year-old dude, right? Like, okay. And then worst case scenario, he loses to a 60-year-old dude. So it's like, how do you come out on top of that? I guess if you're getting paid enough money, oh well, whatever. Yeah, youth versus experience. So I guess it'll be interesting. But then the other comment I had is Jake Paul. So everybody's commenting like didn't. I don't know. I don't know much about his background, but it's not like he's fighting the current heavyweight champion or anything like that. But I guess for entertainment purposes. It's been prearranged. Yeah, maybe. I don't know. You never know anymore, right? You just don't know. The safest thing these days is just to assume from the outset that it's not real or not true. And then if it's proven otherwise, then maybe you can believe it, right? That seems like the safest course of action anymore. Yeah, I couldn't. We'll see. Yeah, we must have some people watching the pre-fight stuff or something like that. Normally we have a few more viewers on the live. Check and see what time it is here. Probably won't get as many nice forges as I anticipated today. time is it? It's 4:15. Yeah, I'm getting over a cold, and then it's that time of year. And then also they're harvesting the cotton and drying the peanuts, and all that stuff kicks all that nonsense up into the air, and that makes it worse. So I apologize for the sniffling and sneezing and general stuff like that. Yeah, Little Giant seems to be working just fine. I talked to Dave at Little Giant about the RAM, where the toggle links go in, and I think it'll be good for quite a while. And you know, those RAMs eventually have to be rebuilt, but I don't think I think I'm quite a ways away from that. So yeah, seems to be working just fine. So that's good. Yeah, some days, depending on which way the wind's blowing. In the past, I don't know if they started ginning the cotton yet or not, but when they start doing that, you can actually you see like little particles of cotton settling on everything. Like little cotton fibers, you know, floating in the air. And honestly, I don't think it's so much the cotton even as it is all the chemicals that they spray on it, because they actually spray the cotton plants out in the field with some kind of herbicide to kill the plant, and all the leaves drop off, and then they can come in, like the plant dies, all the leaves shrivel up and fall to the ground, and then they can come in with their harvesters and harvest all the cotton without getting all the leaves and stuff in the cotton, and that's how they harvest cotton. But then they take it to the gin, and it cleans it and processes it, and you've got all that stuff in the air. I can't imagine that's super healthy for anybody, but that's how it's done. Yukon. Thanks, man. I'm just blowing my nose every so often here. I'm doing a couple different versions of this kind of buffalo skinner knife, and the guy who ordered it can pick between the two, whichever he likes best, and then I can finish that one for him, and then the other one I'll just finish up and have available. I was gonna say, I forgot, on the first live stream today before it conked out, I showed everybody the knives that we forged last Friday, and I'm gonna do that again here right now because a lot of you guys were on the first stream. So I'm gonna show you what we forged on the last Friday forge stream, and it's the lineman's knife that we forged last Friday. It's all finished, ready to go. And this is for cutting the insulation off of big cables, and maybe even cutting the copper wire itself. I'm not entirely sure about that, but anyway, it's good to go. So there's the lineman's knife from last week. And then if you recall, if you were on that stream, we also forged what I'm calling a EDC sax. It's kind of a little general purpose blade inspired by a Viking sax. It's not supposed to be an actual historical Viking sax or anything like that, but it's just a cool blade. Nice, really like that desert iron. I always like desert ironwood. What am I saying? But these are some nice ones right here. And that nice drop down grip that I have come to so appreciate, and you really can't appreciate it enough until you actually hold one in your hand. It just works, man. Anyway, so we did that. We forged that last Friday. That one's already all done, I should say. And then last but not least, we also forged this bad boy out. I worked on the profile a little bit in final grinding, and I really like how it came out. It's got classic Nessmuck / vintage marbles hunting knife vibes, and I think it turned out really cool. But just a nice general purpose outdoors blade. Be great for big game. Got this nice dark box elder, dark green box elder burl handle on it. If I can get that, show that to you guys here. Turned out pretty sweet. And then the nice ergonomic grip on it. Pretty slick. Not sure if it's, yes, you can see it. Anyway, feels really good in the hand. Really nice. Pretty happy with that. So those are the knives from the last Friday's forge stream. Uh-oh, we lost. Are you guys back? What happened? It's like my internet's not been happy today or something. Are we back? No, some guys left. Yeah, that's weird. Weird deal. I didn't mean to leave that in there that long. That's okay though, we're still pretty early in the forging process. The other thing about a gas forge that is nice is that once you have it set, it shouldn't keep raising in temperature. You should be able to run it at the same temperature, but I left that in there longer than I wanted to. I don't like that. Got busy showing you guys those knives. It's not ruined, but I don't like it, so. Thanks, Randy. Okay, some people had a... Skip asked, how many knives you reckon you've made over the years? That's a good question. I don't really know the answer to that. Last year, 2023, I made and sold like 137 knives, not counting axes and hammers and stuff. And this year it'll be more. And I think that's, you know, at least around that number for about 7 years. And then I've made more in the past, you know, before that, so. I really don't know the answer to that, but at least 1,000, I would say, and probably more. But I just want to be conservative on the numbers. And the numbers are only going up, especially this year. I don't know how much more it's going to be, but it's going to be more than last year. Especially since my main income used to be close to 50-50. A couple years ago, it was kind of close to 50-50 on YouTube and actually selling knives. Last couple years, it's like, I'd say more like 80-20 selling knives versus YouTube. So, thanks, Randy. Yeah, I like how they turned out too. Set them on. Now, there you go. That's good. Hanging out on the live stream. I don't think you guys can really see what's going on there. Is the problem. Lower it back down here a little bit. There we go. I'm going to leave this one a little bit thicker, I think, because it's a little bit longer blade. So proportionally, just leave it a little bit thicker. And it's almost done here. I'm going to clean up the profile a touch. Little bit here. So I imagine some of y'all have plans to watch the fight. What other plans y'all got for tonight? I told the kids that we'd do a little campfire, and I'm gonna grill some chicken on the barbecue, on the grill. It's not a barbecue down here. Down here, barbecue is a food, not a cooking implement. But anyway, I'm gonna grill some chicken, and then Have a little campfire. I think. That's my plan for tonight. Thanks, Skip. Hope our chat didn't freeze again here. I'm telling you, something's been up with the internet today. I don't know what's going on. I think we lost the chat again here. Or I did. I don't know. Oh, there's Marcus. So I guess we haven't lost it. Seems like everybody's been having trouble with the internet, or a lot of people. I don't know what's going on here. Seems a little fishy to me. This is definitely bigger than the last blade we forged. Okay. Skip's good. Still got a couple people that are doing okay. That's good. What time do we have here? 4:30-ish. Well, if you got some questions, throw them out. Or if you're from Canada, throw them out. We're about done forging the second buffalo skinner, or whatever it is. Eric's good. All right, well, after this one, I think I want to forge the 52-100 Damascus piece that I showed you guys on the first live stream. This is a piece of Damascus I forged this week, working on some billets. And it's only 25 layers, but it's got a nice tight twist on it, so I think it'll make a nice bold pattern, but I think it'll look pretty cool. So I'm going to forge a knife out of that. And that might be what we get done today on the stream here. It's a little bit of a slower process doing the stream and forging. But you know, it feels like a good fit. You know, on Friday, I've tried to hit it hard all week, you know, and get stuff done. And I really haven't been doing a lot of videos lately because, like I've mentioned a couple times recently, my income comes from making and selling knives, almost predominantly. And so anymore, that's obviously, you know, what I focus on, because I got to pay the bills. And so I really haven't been making as many YouTube videos. And so this is kind of a nice way to, you know, hang out with you guys and provide some content and answer questions and that kind of stuff. So I don't know, seems to work pretty good on the Friday here. So thanks, Skip, appreciate it. Yeah, I mentioned on the first stream, I think I lost like 10 subscribers off of that video so far, which is fine. It doesn't bother me. For the last 6 months, every video that I've uploaded, I've lost at least several subscribers on. You know, and it's been kind of puzzling because it's the same kind of content, same kind of bladesmithing content that I've been uploading all along. And I just don't know if people just aren't as interested in that stuff anymore, or what it is. But you know, there's some more. I don't know, just kind of liberating. It's just like, well, you know, I don't really feel like I have to upload stuff that I feel like is going to get views necessarily. But just the comments that I got on that video, I got way more comments than I usually do on a short video, although it was uploaded as a long video. But anyway, a lot of people, a lot of fellow believers, right, commenting on the video, like you just did, Skip. And you know, so that's encouraging, and if it encouraged you guys, that's what it's there for. So that was great. Oops. The obligatory drop forging. Marcus, I make sheaths for all my knives except for the kitchen knives, unless requested. So unless you're buying a kitchen knife, it's going to come with the sheath, unless specified otherwise, which is almost never. So if you buy a kitchen knife and you want a sheath, you'll have to request that. But otherwise, it comes with a sheath. Was that clear as mud? Hopefully that made sense. All the outdoor blades come with a sheath. The kitchen knives have to be requested with the sheath, if you wanted one. And I try to price the kitchen knives with that in mind, because on the rest of the knives, the sheath is factored into the overall cost because it's included with the knife. I just realized I need to stamp my I need to stamp my forge name in these knives here. Grab that first one here. This is going to be the last, I think the last pass on this knife here. The hammer. Just a nice light finishing pass, and then we'll heat it back up here and stamp in the logo, or the forge name, and then we'll heat up the first one, and stamp that one also. That did not go very well. Doggone it. I double stamped it. No. I thought I had it back in the indentation, but I didn't. That's not what you're supposed to do. Well, could be worse. Could be worse. Not the best, not the worst. It's not a tutorial on how to stamp stuff, apparently. All right. You see what I did there? I accidentally double stamped. One of the characteristics of 5200 that make it a good steel for forging is the 1.5% chromium content. Helps keep the grain size under control. We were talking about forging heats and dropping the forging temperature progressively towards, especially towards the end of the forging process, and how that helps refine the grain structure. It also helps relieve stress in the steel in a big way. But the chromium content in the 52100 also plays an important role, or a helpful role, in controlling the grain size. Okay. Should be okay. Those two are done, and you notice how much of a size difference there is on these. I can stop dropping them on the floor. So a little bit of a size difference. All right, so the last knife, probably the last knife I'm gonna forge today is this piece of 52100 and 15N20 Damascus. Forge a knife out of that, and the reason I'm gonna do that one next is because I can heat treat it with these other two that we forged from 52100. The other Damascus knife I need to forge is 80 CRV2 and 15N20, and that's a little bit different heat treat process, and I want to be able to run a batch at a time, and so having this particular Damascus, it'll heat treat right alongside the other 52100 blades. See you later, Marcus. Appreciate you tuning in. Yeah, maybe it'll be a collectible someday. Who knows? Who knows? While we're waiting for this next piece of steel to heat up, if you have any questions, you can throw them out there. Well, we already have some little inclusions opening up from the twist pattern here. I don't know if you can see that, but that's pretty common. I never not had a twist pattern billet do that to some degree, and I ground them out, but there's still some in there. They're pulling apart when I'm forging this, so we have to do some more grinding on this to get it cleaned up. Yeah, you can see it now. Not super great. So we have to grind those out. Eric asked if I flux. I do flux sometimes. These particular ones, I don't think I did because, or no, I didn't because I had a little different setup on these. Hopefully I don't lose you guys right here. It's away from the I don't know, that's looking a little rough there. We'll see what happens. See you, Skip. Thanks for tuning in. Luis, are you going to be at Blade Fest in Canada, Texas? No, I'm not going to be there. Randy, yeah, I should be good. There's always those surface inclusions when you twist a billet. I've never not had that. Unless something else kind of went wrong, I should be able to grind them out. They should just be surface level. That's usually what they are, even though they usually look worse. They usually look way worse than they actually are. And usually you can just grind them out pretty easy. But no, on these billets, I didn't use flux, and I don't use flux very often anymore. Sometimes I'll do if you keep your billet stacked real tight and use like diesel or something like that, soak it in that, pull it out, put it in the forge. The combination of the diesel or kerosene or oil or whatever you use and a really tight stack to your billet keeps the atmosphere out, and it forge welds up just fine without the mess of the flux and everything. Or you can, on these ones, I actually wrapped them in stainless steel foil, which helps protect the billet while it's heating up. And that actually didn't work super great. The foil kind of degraded pretty fast under atmosphere in the temperature. But if it was thicker, it would have worked better. But anyway, you can encapsulate the billet in some kind of sheet steel or something like that, sacrificial sheet steel, keep the atmosphere out. And so I kind of used a combination of those on these billets this week. But we'll see what we have here. I don't know, I'm getting I'm getting these opening up on me again here. This could be it could be because it's a low layer count, or I had a spot on the edge there that didn't quite. Well, I mentioned earlier I cut this piece off because I was making sure there wasn't a delam in the billet, and it looks like I may have found my delam, to be honest. Yeah. That's bad enough that, yep. That's a delam. That's not your normal surface little deals that you get on a twist pattern. That's beyond normal there. Well, that stinks, guys. Yeah, I don't know how much I'm going to have left. If I can get that that D-lam out, I don't know how much I'm going to have left. That happens sometimes. That particular billet, the forge welding process did not go, you know, as well as I would have hoped. The other one went better, but that's real life, you know, sometimes that happens. It's not all roses and butterflies. So, you know, it's pretty obvious. It's either good or it's not. So we'll see if it is. If it's not, then it's going in the scrap pile. But you know, if we can make it work, then we'll make a knife out of it. But oh well. Yeah, Randy, I've made I think I made a couple with wrought iron and steel. I think I've done a sandmai, maybe a couple sandmai like that, but then also I've done I think I did like a big Viking sax style blade with wrought iron and then steel welded to the wrought iron. Excuse me. All right, well, let's see what happens here. I'm gonna try to forge the point over here. So it's revealing some more of that D-lam, but it appears to stop. Like it's not continuing to split apart. So I think we found the end of the D-lam, but there's still some right there. So I got to go grind that off real fast. I don't think I quite got it all there. Well, I know what happened, and that's the main thing for me is like, if you have something go wrong and you don't know why, that's a problem because you can't avoid it in the future. If you have something happen, something breaks down, or you know, part of the process breaks down or does not go like it should, but you don't know what it is or what went wrong, that's where you have a real problem, because how do you avoid that in the future? And so I know what happened with this one. I was trying that stainless steel foil for an atmosphere protection, and it didn't really work very well. And anyway, there's some things I could have done differently, but I know what happened on this one, so I'm not worried about that part of it. We're just going to see if this steel, we're just going to see if we wasted, you know, multiple hours forge welding a billet that's not going to be any good, you know, and if so, worst case scenario, then we did, you know, that sucks. But we're not going to send a knife out that's got problems. That's not going to be the issue, and we're not going to keep making knives without knowing what's going on, right? So. That's really what it comes down to. Yeah, I don't know. I'm still seeing some. Yeah. Nope, that's going to be no good. That D-lam. No bueno. All right, well, this is scrap. So we ascertained that this is scrap, and that means that I have to carefully check the. So I cut that piece off because I was chasing a D-lam, and I'm pretty sure I got it all off, and then I ground that piece off, and I thought I got all the D-lam off, but obviously I didn't. So obviously that piece is scrap. The billet that came off of is this one right here, and I cut it off because of a D-lam. This piece here should be good, but this just goes, you know, as you're continuing through the process, and I have no detection of D-lams in this piece, but as you're continuing with the process, you pay attention to that. And anyway, that's why I cut that piece off, to get rid of a section that had some D-lam in it, so that this would be good. So I'm reasonably sure that this is good, but we're going to pay attention to that as we proceed. And so that's just what you have to do. So I'm not worried about it, because I know what to look for. I know what happened. And that's why I cut that piece off. So anyway, this just goes to show you that the whole bladesmithing thing is not just a plug and play type activity. You have to pay attention. You have to know what to look for. You have to keep your eyes open, and yeah, pay attention to what's going on and make a quality blade. So, yeah, that's not really how I wanted to end the live stream, but I guess that goes to show you what can happen, and you got to pay attention what's going on. Adjust my tripod here. All right, well, sometimes that's how it goes. But on this piece right here, you can clean up the edges, the sides of your billets, and oftentimes you'll have just real surface level D-lams, or where it didn't quite forge weld all the way, and those come out pretty easy. And sometimes they go a little deeper, and sometimes you kind of keep grinding and keep grinding and keep grinding, and they're still there. And that's what happened on a section of this billet, which I cut off, and then I thought I was able to get the D-lam out and saved a little piece, which we tried to just tried to forge into a knife. But obviously it was still there. So this is the other piece, and you know, looking at the sides of this one, you can look at that and see if there's any indication of a D-lam. And it came out of the layering process with no indication of a D-lam. So I'm reasonably sure that the rest of our Damascus or pattern welded steel from this week is safe, is good. you know, but you know I'm going to be like OCDing about it a little bit over the weekend until I can get back out here and forge out some blades and really make sure that it's 100% good to go. But I really do think it is. But anyway, we got a couple knives forged, and that's good. So I appreciate you guys hanging out for the live stream. Probably come back in here real quick. All right. Well, you guys have a good Friday evening. Appreciate you being on here. And thanks, Eric. Thanks, everybody. Randy. Everybody else who's still on here. You guys have a good one. And I think we'll do it again next Friday. That seems to work pretty good. Get a couple knives forged, hang out, and talk about bladesmithing and whatever, and all that good stuff. So appreciate you guys watching, and we'll see you on the next video.